The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Crook County, Oregon, on your new fire apparatus job number 31947. Please utilize this job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new fire apparatus. Let's first start down at the front bumper. You have two forward-facing tow hooks open-ended. Moving up from that location on the passenger side is where you'll find your electronic siren and speaker control. Both equally on the right and left side, you'll find dual air horns. Moving up onto the top of the bumper, you'll find a front intake. Moving to the center, you'll find a tubbed storage area for hose. And moving all the way over to the driver's side, you'll find a swiveled 1.5" discharge. Moving up onto the body, you'll find your headlight cluster. The high beam is the inner beam and the low beam are the outer beams. On the outside edges, you'll find your turn indicator marker light. Moving up from that, you'll find your forward-facing turn indicator, and just on the inside, emergency lights. Your window is covered with 3 windshield wipers on your seamless one-piece windshield. As we look down, here are some close-ups of those. Once again, large diameter intake. Moving down to the base, this is going to be the 2 tow hooks. Looking down into the tub storage area for hose storage. Moving all the way to the driver's side, 1.5" front discharge. And on the sides of the bumper on the right and left, you'll find emergency warning lights. Here's some close-ups of the headlight cluster, turn, and emergency lights. Let's take a look at the cab of the apparatus from the driver's side. You'll find your pull handles, which are key entry. You also have grab handles at all points of entry. You'll find your auto eject. Just next to the auto eject, you'll find your air inlet. Moving all the way up to the top, you'll find your side scene light. Moving to the very back of the cab in the upper corner, you'll find your visual indicator for your tank water level. You'll also find on the driver and passenger side your mirrors, which are flat on top and convexed on the bottom. At all points of entry into the cab, you'll find step lights. As we look inside the cab driver's side, you'll find when this is activated, when your shore power is plugged in for your charging system. Up above, you'll find comfort controls for the operator. Here are some close-ups of those images. Shoreline 20 amp and your air inlet. Overhead, you'll find the side-facing floodlight. Once again, steps all have lighting. To the rear of the cab, you'll find the water indicator, and also attached on the rear of the cab, you'll find your telescoping LED floodlight. We'll now move to the midsection. You'll find access to the right and left side for your backboards. Located inside the cab, you'll find your manufactured by Pierce. This is the indication of the date of manufacture. It also houses information on your job number, gross vehicle weight rating, the tires and rim size, cold tire inflation. It also has your VIN number, and then just at the very base of this yellow placard, you'll find all of your fluid capacities for your apparatus. Let's go ahead and move to the dash area. As we look down at the floorboard, you'll first find your brake treadle. To the right, you'll find your accelerator. Moving up on to about left knee location for the operator is where you'll find your quarter turn. This is the silver master battery switch. Moving to the right, the green cap is your diagnostic port. Moving down beneath, you'll find all of your diagnostic ports and regen switches. And down at the very base, you'll find a caution label. Let's go ahead and move up to the upper left-hand corner. This is where you'll find the ignition and start. Moving inside of that, you'll find the EM switch, which stands for Emergency Master, and then your headlights, parking lights, and panel lights. You'll also find your push for telescope and pull for tilt. Turn signal on the left, flash your headlights, and then on the steering column itself, you'll find your four-way hazards. Let's go ahead and move up to the dash area on the very top. In this cluster, you'll find first water temperature, DEF, oil, and oil pressure. You'll also find speedometer, tachometer, battery, fuel, and also front and rear air. Let's go ahead and move now to the driver's right side about knee height. You'll find first two green indicators, one pump engaged and the other is OK to pump. And then you'll also find your road to pump or pump to road. Moving to the right, you'll find your main mirror and your convex mirror controls. Moving up just to the left side, you'll find the high idle and also the OK to engage high idle in green. You'll find also the diamond yellow pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. And just to the right of that, you'll find your Allison transmission pad. Moving all the way up to the very top where the switches are located, you'll find your air horn and electric horn selector, siren or horn selection, and also a protected switch, which is for your tire chains. Moving further up, you'll find at the very top the display for your backup camera, engine brake on and off, engine brake low and high, and also your mirror heat and load manager. To the right is your windshield wiper, push to apply fluid. Located in the center, just around the corner from your windshield wipers, is your climate control. Overhead, we'll take a quick look at this area and we'll break down those components individually, starting in the upper left-hand corner with your front flood, driver side, cab scene, passenger side cab scene, deck lights, and also your perimeter lights. These are all indicated green when they're activated. Let's move just slightly to the right to the next section. This is going to be your Pierce information regarding seat belts. When someone is in the seat, they'll indicate being red. If they are belted, they'll indicate in green. This will display all seated positions within the apparatus. Moving further to the right, we're going to find your emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warnings, and upper rear warning. Same thing, if it's lit in green, it's indicating that it's on. Let's go overhead once again. This is just about in the center. This will be your siren control and PA controls. You can see the large red switch is the power switch. You also have a manual, radio, man 1, man 2, high frequency, T1, T2. Located just in the center of the cab, you'll also find your do not move your apparatus. If this light is on, it's indicating that you have a compartment door open or something that should not allow you to move the apparatus and that you need to verify. Looking overhead, this is your air conditioning unit. Let's go back outside of the cab, down to the lower section. You'll find Goodyear tires, steel wheels, and in the center of this, you're going to find your fluid level, which needs to be checked. And also, as we move to the back door, an assist for firefighters getting in and out of the cab. You have a roll-up compartment door with inside the cab, accessed at the very base. It does lock. Once again, overhead in the rear section, you'll find your heating and air conditioning. This is your air conditioning unit. Down at the lower base section in between the two seats, you'll find your access panel for daily checks for oil and transmission. You have rear-facing SCBA seats. Just behind those SCBA seats, you will find external power. This is when you're plugged into shore power. These will be activated. We've now moved to the midsection of the pump. over the sides, you'll find your number 1 crosslay and number 2. We'll also cover all of your pump components next. Let's first move just slightly to the right. Let's talk a little bit about some of the components here. First, at the very top, you'll find 2 grab handles for accessing above or aloft of the apparatus. You'll also find there is a step light here, and this is a designated step. Let's go ahead and start now with discussion on your pump panel. Let's start in the gray area. First, at the upper right-hand corner with your master intake and also your master discharge. Located in the center, you'll find your vacuum and pressure test ports. Let's move all the way to the left, just next to the Pierce logo. This is going to be your pump test for 150, 200, and 250 psi. You also have an electronic valve for your front inlet. Moving to the right, you have an adjustable intake relief valve, plus and minus, and also a gauge just above. Moving to the right, you'll find your Pierce water governor. To the right also, you'll find this round black device. This is an audible alarm. And all the way to the right, you're going to find a set of switches. The one I want to point out is your pump engaged is in green, and that is illuminated. Just beneath that, you'll find your red air horn. Starting from left, moving all the way to the right, you'll find your number 1 crosslay, number 2 crosslay, front discharge. You'll also find your discharge for your aerial device, your deluge device. And then moving to the right, you'll also find additional 2.5 and passenger rear discharge. In the blue is your water tank. Down to the next section down, you'll find your 3 discharges, which are 2.5 inch. You have a fire primer, and next to it, you have the primer for the front intake. Those require a minimum of 1,000 RPMs to engage. Just beneath that, you'll find your engine cooler, tank fill recirculating line, and also your tank to pump. Let's go ahead and start in the upper left-hand corner here, first with a warning label regarding pressurized caps and the associated hazards with those pressurized caps when removing the cap. Let's start also with the 2.5 inch discharges. Moving to the right, large diameter intake, and moving all the way to the far right, this is your pump drain. Let's move down to the very bottom area. We'll start first with the placard in red. This is the Watrous placard regarding information on the type of pump that your apparatus has. Moving to the right, you'll find your 2.5 inch auxiliary inlet. And then once again, all the way to the right underneath your large diameter intake, you'll find a warning label. This is going to be that only trained and authorized people operate your piece of equipment. Down on the very bottom, you'll find associated drains. And then moving to the very far right, this is your manual pump shift. In the area just beneath this, you'll find a tub storage for hose storage. Let's go ahead and move to the rear section of the body. At the lower portion here, next to the rear wheel, you'll find the location for storage of your folding wheel chocks. Moving up from that, you'll find emergency warning lights on the side, and also a step light at the very top because of this being a walkway. You also have fold down steps located here. There are 3 of them that fold down. Let's look overhead, just a close-up shot of, once again, grab handles and that step light. Moving further, each individual compartment houses shelving that is adjustable and also interior LED lighting. On this side of the apparatus, these 2 cutouts here near the wheel, those are for bottle storage. Moving up into the next compartment up, you'll find your pegboard storage board. To release the silver handle, when it's pulled completely out, it will lock into position. There is a release mechanism as where the arrow is indicating. Once again, Goodyear tires in the rear. Just past this emergency light, you'll find the next set of doors. This is going to be the location for your diesel fill and also your DEF. The blue cap is for DEF, 4.5 gallons, and then you also have the silver cap, which is your diesel, low emissions. Moving further back, you'll find pegboard, pull-out shelf, and an adjustable shelf here, and also LED lighting inside that compartment. Just inside this compartment, underneath the shelf area, when the shelf is pulled out, you'll find a shore outlet. This is a 120 VAC 20 amp plug. This is when you're plugged into shore power. My assumption is you might have some sort of a blowhard fan that plugs in back here or emergency medical equipment. This will only activate when you are plugged into shore power. Just past the rear wheel is where you'll find the location and mount for the folding wheel chocks. Let's go ahead and go to the rear of the apparatus. You'll find grab handles at all locations here and folding steps for access. Also, you'll find your backup camera located in the white center area just beneath the Pierce logo. And then just to the right of that, or on the passenger side, you'll find a rear 2.5-inch discharge. Moving down to the very back on the driver's side, you'll find this switch which activates the lights above for your rear scene. And then you also have brake, turn, reverse, and emergency lights in the back corners. Let's look underneath the apparatus here in the rear. You'll find your license plate, and you'll also find perimeter LED lighting. And in the center of your apparatus, you'll find an attachment point. These are those lights that are overhead that will turn on at the very top, rear scene lights. I would like to point out once again these two warning labels here regarding not riding on the rear of your apparatus while it's in motion. Your center compartment has two pull-out style shelves. Here is that center attachment point. And you'll see on the left-hand side, you have fold-down steps to gain access aloft. Looking up in the very top, this is that rear discharge, 2.5-inch, and you also have adjustable hose bed. Let's look at the very top. You'll find your tank fill from the top. It also has a strainer inside. This is for your water tank. Located in the center, you'll find your crossfire deluge. It also pivots and locks and also extends. Close up here of the camera in the very back, just beneath the Pierce logo, and also that discharge 2.5-inch. We'll go ahead and move up from this location. You do have ground ladders located on your apparatus. Behind this door is where you'll find your ground ladders that consist of a 24-foot extension ladder, a 14-foot roof ladder, and as we move to the very top, you'll find two locations for long poles, pike poles, or other long tools. And on the very far right, you can see the tail end of it here. This is your 10-foot folding ladder. Side view of your apparatus. We'll go ahead and move down to the side of the apparatus and cover some of the components within this area. First, this is a walkway, so you do have a step up at the very top for you. As we move down, you can also see emergency lights located at the very top and also midship. And then we have a slight different configuration when it comes to bottle storage here, but I would like to direct you to this sticker. This is a warning label regarding extremely hot diesel exhaust and to be cautious as to where you park. As we look at the compartments, first you'll see an adjustable shelf. Inside this compartment also you have a Shore Power 120 VAC 20 amp plug. These are the two compartments that slightly differ on the other side. These are all bottle storage locations. You can see inside the compartment storage there is a strap here to safely hold the SCBA bottle in position. We're viewing now the Goodyear tires steel wheels. Now we're looking at the front section of that same bottle storage area. Let's move to the center compartment. You can see you have adjustable shelving brackets, although there is no shelving in this compartment. As we move forward, once again a fixed adjustable shelf and also pegboard. Let's move to the midsection area. You can see grab handles and also a step and also a light here for that step. As we look at the cab itself, you'll find one, the pull light, and also your tank indication here for the water level. Access here for board storage. You can access it from the passenger or driver's side. You also have a cab lift. There are specific instructions on your cab lift. Please make sure you're aware of the danger and warning labels. Moving in the center, Pierce logo, an American flag eagle, large diameter intake. Also an additional warning label here regarding pressurized caps and the associated hazards. Two 2.5-inch discharge here. As we move down, the associated drains on the far left-hand side, access door on the right-hand side, and then you also have a 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet and additional discharges for drains on the right-hand side. Down in the very bottom, you have a tubbed storage area for hose. Each passenger and driver side have an activation switch. This is the activation switch for those pole style lights. General view of the side of the cab, similar as the other side, a few other components that are not featured here, but let's look underneath the cab. You'll find your pull to drain. This is for your front inlet, and you'll also find a relief valve, and do not cap this relief valve. As we move up to the passenger side, rear compartment, as you step inside, you'll find these easy grab handles for firefighters entering and exiting the cab. Once again, rear facing SCBA quick seats. Located in the center, you have a full roll-up compartment. Looking overhead from this side, you'll find your air conditioning unit. Front tires, the point I want to point out here is there is lube in the axle, and you'll need to verify and check that on your daily maintenance. Also, in all points of entry, you'll find at the steps it does have LED lighting. And as we move inside the cab, passenger side, this is the fill location for the windshield wiper fluid. Looking up onto the top center area, you have an air horn push button. Just beneath that, 2 barrel style 12-volt access points. Underneath the officer seat, this is the passenger side, you have additional storage. Let's go ahead and move overhead of the passenger seat. You'll find some controls here, and we'll talk about those next. Starting on the far right hand side, this is your go light. These are the controls for that light, which is a light in the top center of your apparatus light bar. You also have controls here for front, driver side, passenger side cab scene lights. Congratulations, Crook County, Oregon, job number 31947 on your new fire apparatus. If you have any questions, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.